Welcome to the Student Success Centre seminar series. Today you are viewing goal setting. Our learning objectives today are assessing your life and determining whether it's balanced, assigning priorities and assessing performance, telling the difference between declarations and goals, the skills of smart goal setting, assessing motivation, creating action items, and identifying internal torque and external motivators. You woke up each day and you had a choice in each second, each minute of your day. In each moment, you always chose what was best for you. Your life right now comes down to the goals that you have set and achieved for yourself. It has gotten you to this point on the road. Would you like this road to veer in a different direction, or are you happy with it continuing in this direction? Let's take a look at where your life is sitting at right now. These are all different components of a typical university student's life. What we would like you to do is take out a sheet and paper and pen. Write down each of these categories and put a circle around it. The size of your circle should reflect how important this category is to you in your life right now. Next, we would like you to grade your performance in that category. Give it a mark out of 10. For example, if you feel you've done really well in your academics, mark it an 8 or 9 out of 10. I will give you a moment to do this. Let's take a look at your life values. How do things look? Have a look at the size of the circles and take note of the areas that are really important to you right now. Do you have areas where you are very focused, or are you rather balanced across all of the circles? Are some circles big, yet the marks are low, or are some circles small, with high marks? Are you underachieving in an area where you are very focused, or are you overachieving in an area where you're very focused? Take a moment to review these circles. Next, we need to look at the difference between goals and declarations. Declarations are the 80%, whereas goals are the 20%. We all make declarations. In fact, those are what we make 80% of the time. Why? Because we want to be awesome. I want to do this. I want to be this. It makes us feel good, and we are energized and get enthusiasm from saying we'll do something. And of course, we love the approval we'll get. For example, you might say to your friends, "Hey, I'm going to do a marathon next year." It's pretty sweet basking in the amazement and enthusiasm of your friends who think you're pretty awesome with all your huge goals. But then the year passes and you don't do it. You don't mention it again. How about your friend who always says they're going to sign up for something but always bails? They're probably making declarations too. Take a moment to think about some declarations you made this year or last year, the ones that didn't happen despite your best intentions. I'm going to get you to write 3 of them down right now. The first skill is prioritizing. We say, "I don't have time," when life gets busy or when we don't want to feel guilty about skipping something. However, saying "I don't have time" is actually a lie. Most of us do have some freedom in deciding how our time is spent. Let's say that you played video games all week and on Friday you have an exam. It's not easy to accept that you're going to do poorly on an exam. However, when you say, "I don't have enough time to study for the test on Friday," it makes it easier to accept the fact that you're going to do poorly. This is a coping mechanism. You are shifting the blame away to this mysterious entity called time. In the process, you're shifting the blame away from yourself. "I don't have time" needs to be completely erased from your vocabulary. But it's okay, we're going to give you an alternative. Instead, every time you catch yourself saying, "I don't have time," stop yourself and say, "It's not a priority." Watch how quickly your perspective shifts when using this sentence. "I don't have time to study" becomes, "Studying isn't a priority." "I totally didn't have time to work out yesterday" becomes, "Working out yesterday totally wasn't a priority." It might be tough to say that. It even stings a little. But it also debunks your arguments. It takes you away from your safety zone and shines a bright light on what you are making a priority. How you choose to spend your time reflects those priorities. How are you going to fill your 168 hours next week? What priorities will you choose to reflect in your activities? Look at the circles around your areas of life. Which circle did you want to expand and improve on? Where did you catch yourself saying, hey, I really want to make this a priority? Or hey, I really need to improve in this area? I want you to keep a goal in mind. At the end of the seminar, you will be asked to complete an activity using that goal and the principles that we are teaching here. The system that we are going to use is called the SMART goal setting system. SMART stands for skills that successful people use when they set a goal and achieve it. We are going to take your goal, tear it apart, and build it back into a bigger, better, and stronger goal. One that not only declares your intent, but also gives you the tools to accomplish it. In one sentence. Look at the circles around each area of life. Which circle would you want to expand or improve upon? Where did you catch yourself saying, I want to make this more of a priority, or I want to improve my performance? Write your goal down. It can come from any area of your life. This isn't just an academic goal-setting workshop, but you can certainly choose an academic goal. The system we are going to use is the SMART goal system. The SMART goal system uses principles that successful people follow when they set a goal and achieve it. We are going to take an example goal, tear it apart, and build it back up into a bigger, better, and stronger goal. One that not only declares intent, but also gives the person the tools they need to accomplish it. First, make your goal specific. Use the language of I will, not I want to, not I should, not I'm going to. This subtle technique gets your subconscious in the right frame of mind. This is a stage that lays the foundation for your goal. Athletes at the Olympic won't be going into their event saying, I want to win. They will say, I will win. The possibility of achieving your goal needs to be real. Many people say, fake it till you make it. Write down the goal as if you are going to make it, and you are going to be successful at it. Use more powerful language, I will. You can see how we adjusted the original sentence here. Next, your goal must be measurable. All races have a start and finish line with chip timers. If you were running a half marathon and there wasn't a timer, it definitely wouldn't be as exciting or motivating. You might not even stick with running. We do need to see changes. We all need feedback, and seeing improvement is what keeps you going. Measurements keep you on track and accountable. Think about your midterms and getting grades back. How motivated would you be for the rest of the year if you didn't get a single grade or a single amount of feedback on what you were doing or how you were doing it? Establish concrete, measurable criteria for motivation accountability. You can see how we have adjusted the original sentence above to fulfill this requirement. You must make your goal attainable. Most people are guilty of setting a really lofty goal and they never achieve it. People who run ultramarathons successfully never ever focus on the big lofty goal of 125 kilometers. They always focus on attainable goals, one leg at a time, 25 kilometers. Their goal is always to finish 25 kilometers on each leg. The runners that hit the wall or experience mental meltdowns are the runners who get caught up in the big lofty goal. They stop thinking about 25 kilometers and start thinking about 125 kilometers. For example, the Canadian Death Race is an ultra race that goes 125 kilometers over 24 hours and 3 mountains. This race has a completion rate of almost 25%. 75% of the runners fail because of their minds long before they get to the finish line. Ultra runners know to make their goals attainable. How do you edit your goal to make it more attainable? Think of a measuring tape. At one end of the tape, set a goal that would be relatively easy to achieve, with a high likelihood of success. Then, at the other end of the tape, set a goal that will be challenging to achieve, with the possibility of it becoming just another declaration. Most people tend to set their goals at this end of the tape. Now, situate your goals somewhere in the middle, or slightly closer to the easy end of the tape. Keep in mind though, attainable is not another word for easy, but attainable does mean that there will be a high likelihood of success. Next, your goal must be relevant. To ensure goal-setting success, you must make sure that your goal falls into your current areas of priority. Does the goal that you set for yourself fit into one of your circles? Is it fitting into one of the circles that's larger? Is that goal going to have a ripple effect within that area of your life? Is that an area that's already important to you? The goal must be relevant to your life and your interests. It must tap into your values. If this goal fits into several of your circles, even better. Running might be a health and wellness goal, but if you train with friends, it could fit into the circle for social or friends or family. If you get involved with volunteering, it can fit into your extracurricular circles. The more connections, the stronger the goal. For example, it's great that you want to do a 5K race, but what race holds personal relevance? What race would fit into multiple circles? For people whose lives have been affected by cancer, for example, a cancer fundraising race might be a great option. It taps into deeply held values and interest areas. Go for personal meaning and alignment with the life that you have. Your goal also needs to be time-bound. This puts the due by stamp on it. If you had a paper to write with new due date, realistically, would you do it? Would you be motivated? It's exactly the same with goals. Bring your goals out of the future and bring them back into the present, where they'll be closer to you. Make them real in your mind. Put a date on them. In review, your goal needs to be SMART. It needs to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Take a look at how this goal has evolved. Read the 2 sentences. Which one seems more real to you? Which one do you read and find that it gives you more motivation? Which is a more powerful statement? Now that we have a goal set, the final piece of a puzzle is the action item. That goal of yours is sitting in the future. It needs to be brought into the present with 3 actions that get it going right now. 3 actions are always going to get you closer to your goal the moment you start them. Remember to use the SMART principles for them as well. These action items have to be constantly revised because each month you're going to make a great deal of progress with them. Actions boost your confidence and create forward momentum towards your goal. The first action should be easy and attainable within the next few days. This is an example of what some action items would look like that are attached to the goal we reviewed. They need to be somewhere where you will see them. The mind is occupied with more than 60,000 thoughts a day. It's a busy machine and needs to be constantly reminded of what you need to do. A great option is to write your action items down and take a picture with your iPhone and save it to your background. If it is a very important goal to you, save these action items where you're always going to see them several times a day. Let's not kid ourselves, motivation is always a tough one. Even the most successful, goal-oriented people struggle with motivation sometimes. How can you prevent a serious rut? Identify the ruts. Identify your behavior and the internal talk that happens when your motivation starts to flag and write them down. These can be discouraging thoughts or even excuses that your brain makes up when it does not want to work on the action items. What's one of the most common? I don't have time. Before you proceed, you need to stop. You need to ask yourself a very difficult question. Are these my goals? Are these goals connected with who you want to become? Or are they connected with someone else's ideas of who they want you to become? We spent most of our childhood learning to please others. We learned that other people delight in our actions, and we got gratitude from that. We loved it when others applauded our accomplishments. When you do your goal setting, really think about who's going to benefit from this goal. Are you going to benefit? Your friends? Your family? Who wants you to achieve this goal? Put a circle around the person who wants you to achieve this goal the most. And be aware if you start circling around people who are not yourself. In conclusion, a few final tips. Don't forget that your goals must engage all of you, and they must have multiple spillover benefits into other areas of your life. Choose goals that are going to have multiple effects in multiple circles. Know what other areas of your life are going to be impacted, and know what rewards await you if you achieve this goal successfully. And do not forget to be realistic. This is not an overhaul project. You are in school and you're busy. You are only going to have time to work on a few goals at a time. Get the biggest bang for your buck by choosing goals that affect multiple areas. At the end of the seminar, you should be able to determine whether your life is balanced or not. You should be able to assign priority areas and assess your performance in those areas. You should be able to tell the difference between declarations and goals. And you should have the skills of smart goal setting. You will be able to assess your motivation levels and identify areas or pitfalls. You should be able to create action items. And you will be able to identify internal talk and external motivators, which impact your motivation. You've learnt about several aspects of goal setting. This concludes our seminar on goal setting. You can now proceed to your assignment in Blackboard. You may now log on to Blackboard to complete the goal setting seminar activity. If you are completing the Skills for Success certificate through the Student Success Centre, congratulations, you're well on your way.